There's a big difference between going into Libya, where I would agree with you, we should have had that debate, and what happened where Soleimani. We don't need an AUMF to take out somebody. The president has those powers under Article 2. It's plain and simple. If there's an immediate danger, and we have a whole series of events where, frankly, I agree with my friend, the ranking member, this president has shown enormous forbearance. This is not something you want. This is not somebody that's planning a war. This is somebody that literally, when ships were attacked in the Gulf, did not rush off and do something. This is somebody that when an ally of the United States had a vital facility struck, Saudi Arabia, did not do anything other than send defensive capability to Saudi Arabia to try and help it. This is somebody that when a drone was shot down and his own military advisors were recommending a strike, said, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to risk human life. It's only when an American, after multiple attacks, on American facilities, where, by the way, we were indirectly allied with the Iranians against ISIS. They're attacking us while we're fighting a common enemy, for goodness sake. Americans killed, Americans are wounded, and the idea that the President of the United States can't respond, to me, just doesn't stand scrutiny at all. So if we are talking about a major war, I would agree with you. That's not what happened here. And frankly, if we're going to have this debate and it's going to be serious, then it needs to have started in a chairman's committee. We should have had a markup. We should have a full. That's not what's going on. This is a political exercise. This is almost a reflexive reaction as opposed to thoughtful consideration. And I think it will divide us rather than unite us. It will make it partisan rather than bipartisan. I look forward to working with you because I know you're serious about this, and we've worked together in the past, and you are absolutely right about reclaiming the appropriate powers of Congress. That's not what's going on here. This is an effort to try and score political points against a president who, by the way, has been extraordinarily restrained throughout his 3 years in the use of military force. We use military force a lot more frequently under President Obama without consultation to Congress than we have under this president. So I think in this case, he did do the right thing. I think he's right to say this should have happened a long time ago. Republicans and Democrats missed opportunities to do this. I'm not so sure the Israelis did. I think they came and talked to us. We told them not to do it. I think they would have probably been a little bit more decisive. But I don't want to send the wrong message here. I don't want to send the message that the president somehow did something wrong when he took out a terrorist who's killed hundreds of Americans. Every single one of us in Congress represent constituents who've lost limbs because of General Soleimani's actions and what he did. And this isn't a guy who just was doing the wrong thing for the last few weeks or the last few months. This is a matter of years and decades of systematic terrorism by this guy, and we all agree on that. There's no debate about that. Frankly, I think he'd gotten so used to acting with impunity that he exposed himself. He had no business being in Iraq in the first place. He literally was violating a UN resolution to be there. And if anybody thinks he was on a vacation to Baghdad, I don't think that's what was going on. I think he was there consulting with the enemies of the United States about how to kill Americans, damage American interests. So I think the president was well within his constitutional authority here. But if we want to have this discussion, we should do it the right way. It should start in committee with a markup, a full discussion, a full hearing. You should be calling witnesses from the administration as to their justification as to why they did this. I have no objection to that at all. This was a resolution basically written in the Speaker's office. We got it, 45 minutes ago, an hour ago. That's not what we're talking about. This is much more political than it is about constitutional authority and the appropriate balance of power. And that's a disservice because we're going to end up with a partisan vote on a partisan resolution that is going to paper over, the fact that we're ignoring a terrorist. We're being critical, I think, indirectly of the president, implying that he wanted to plot war with Iran. Anything but. This is a guy that turned the cheek multiple times before, but he did say, you kill an American, it's going to be very different. And that's exactly what happened here. And then he responded decisively. I think it's a pretty important message. Now, we can debate the nuances of the Iranian response or whether we're drifting toward war, I think we're further away from war because the president laid down a pretty clear marker here and said you're not going to be able to kill Americans with impunity and us not respond.